Hi guys, welcome to Seriology, a weekly conversation among friends regarding what's currently on the small screen, sometimes on the big screen, and what might have trended in the past with me, Rich the Hot Broccoli, TV addict, cat lover, and monster sculptor, and Lady Alexa, self-proclaimed TV addict, dreamer, and sucker for romantic shows.
Welcome back. I can't believe
Hey everybody, how are you guys doing?
I can't believe we're already in our second episode.
Episode 2. Episode 1 is
amazing.
now in the books.
Yes.
Now
Plus,
in the books.
I feel like it is my duty that I need to inform you, Rich,
You better not go back to that 90210 stuff.
about the second episode of the 90210
Yep, nope.
reboot.
Skipping over that. You were supposed to listen to some boys. You're supposed to watch some boys.
It's just a little episode, I got a little deets from all the stars as to what the hell is going on in the show, and apparently I was correct. They are playing hidden versions of themselves in the show.
Okay.
It's a 6-episode run, so it's only 6 episodes. 4 more, and you're not gonna hear about.
And I'm in the clear. We don't have to start each episode with this little recap.
Nope, you won't have to hear of it again until. If it gets another season, you might have to hear that second season.
All right. So did you watch any more of The Boys?
No, I haven't, because this weekend I was actually out. I had a live this weekend.
Get out. We're supposed to be watching. People who watch TV don't have lives.
Could you believe I actually had a live? I went out on Friday. I went out on Saturday. I went out on Sunday.
Nice.
I'm exhausted.
Ah.
I'm exhausted, but back to 90210. No, don't get me out of it, Rich. Come on.
Oh.
So
90210.
the 6 episodes will start with a nightmare. This second one started with Kelly's, aka Jenny Garth, nightmare, and it was mostly about getting the band back together to do a reboot. So they're playing the reboot on the reboot. You get what
Okay, that's confusing.
Okay, so they are playing a hidden version of themselves, as I said.
And
Like, for example, Brian Austin Green is married to Megan Fox. And
I didn't know that.
You didn't? Well, he's married to
Yeah.
Megan Fox, and in the show, he's married to Lala Anthony,
Okay.
who is the ex-wife of basketball player Carmelo Anthony. Anywho.
Sports. Go sports.
Go Sports, yes. I only know this because of the Kardashians.
You're not helping. You're
Not helping my case here.
Yeah, not helping.
But anywho, yeah, so they're playing the reboot inside of this reboot. So it's very fun, and I suggest everyone should watch it. It's still very fun, and I'll keep giving these updates. These very fun updates.
That just gave me an idea. And we should ask our Siri lovers here. We should come up with our own little rating system, like a 2 thumbs up, like with Siskel and Ebert, or the tomatoes, Rotten Tomatoes.
I like that. I'm a fan of that.
Then we could, our fans could tweet us.
I think we should have like an emoji system or something. So we're different from everyone else, instead of Rotten Tomatoes, let's have like a smiley
like
face.
what could we come up with? Next week, everybody will come up with something as a rating system.
You have the throwing up face, as in 90210 for Rich.
Yeah. That's 4 throw up faces for me.
You see, I think that's fun.
Yeah. Do I even bring up the purple eggplants?
No. Nor the peaches. But one of the reasons why I also wanted to bring a little bit of laugh at the beginning of the show, it's because today, serial lovers, we're diving into a very heavy TV series, a limited series.
I'm going to go with dense.
Very dense.
Mini-series by HBO.
Emmy nominated. It was nominated for an Emmy.
And so it should.
It was amazing, which I'm pretty sure most of you have heard or have seen. Chernobyl.
It's a 5-episode miniseries that was put out on HBO about 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
It was in the middle of Game of Thrones, so yeah, around May.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know what the show is about, it's a historical recap of the nuclear meltdown disaster that happened in
Pripyat.
Pripyat. And you know what? I even, before going on air, I was listening to how to pronounce it in different different.
You're kidding me.
No, like there's a whole website dedicated to
How to
different
pronounce
yes, how to pronounce it in different countries. Pripyat in the Ukraine.
In the
And
Ukraine.
it is the first or second biggest man-made disaster that we have done to ourselves.
The Japanese one being the first one, if
Yeah.
I am correct, right?
Wasn't that after? I honestly don't know what the first one was.
Being the first one as in the ranks, not
Oh,
on
bigger,
year,
like-
but yeah, on
yeah.
ranking.
Yeah. Yes, that one was way bigger.
Yeah, that I remember that one. But it's crazy.
right.
How
How do you want to delve into this one? This is
I think let's go episode by episode. At least have a little summary of each episode, and then we can just.
Oh, and by the way, guys, spoiler alerts.
Oh yeah.
Completely, yeah.
As always, if you haven't seen it,
Which is funny
Please-
because it's a
please stop.
spoiler. Yeah.
it's a spoiler.
It's a
podcast.
spoiler alert on something that happened in history. So is it really a spoiler? You should know your history.
It was also on 1985, if I'm correct, right?
It's 6.
86. How old
Yep.
were you?
9. I was 9. I remember this happening.
Oh wow.
You were like, were you not a thing yet?
My parents hadn't even met.
Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, so April 26th, 1986 is when this happened at
Wow.
1:23 in the morning, Ukraine time.
And if now that we're here, we can dive straight into the first episode, which it's fun because it begins at the end and then it rewinds as to when it exploded. It begins with Legasov making the tapes and saying who's really to blame. And serial lovers, if you already heard the first episode, you know that Rich and I have cats. He has 2. I have one little baby. So if you hear some noises, it's either one of them.
One of our cats, yeah.
Yes. And when I started watching the episode, he has a beautiful cat, and I'm like, what is going on? Why is he giving so much food to the cat? But
It starts off heavy.
yeah, it starts very heavy. He starts saying who's to blame, and then he kills himself. Fun. And that's when we go back in time to the actual explosion. Which, to be honest, with me, it was hard for me to actually get into the show because
The first
as I said,
the first 10 minutes are just like hit you really quick.
So much stuff is going on that you get lost. I actually stopped it halfway through, and I had to get back a couple of days later to just focus on the show.
You know, I did the same thing.
Really?
Yeah, because it was like I was coming off of Game of Thrones.
Great
And
minds.
yeah, what a transition that was. And I was like, oh, I've heard a lot of great things about this.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get my mind set to get into the show
Yes,
until
same.
after all the waves of Game of Thrones finale was
Same.
done being talked about at work and whatever.
Same. It was hard for me to get in. My best friend from Venezuela, she actually started watching it when it came out, and she kept telling me, you have to watch it, it's a really good one. But I kept looking at the commercials, and I'm, you know what, this is something that I feel like I need to be very happy before watching it, that way I don't go into a depressive state.
What a weird emotion to go into this show with. I need to be happy to get myself through the show. If I'm not, I'll probably end up doing suicide after.
It begins with the guy killing himself.
I know.
What do you expect? We need something happy. But yeah, that was my main focus and my main concern. It was that I needed to be in an okay mood to actually dive into. But once you dive in, it's hard to just stop. It's like it's dense, it's heavy, but you need to keep watching. I want to know what happens at the very end. That's how I felt. And that's when the first episode, which I love when you see things in the 80s, things in the 90s. I always like that type of things, reminiscent. But it got to
Hmm.
a point where it was just a lot of little squares blipping and colors and everybody freaking out and a lot of noise, which is preparing you for the explosion. And I'm here
Yeah.
in my head thinking, how unprepared were these people that they didn't know, even as workers of this plant, that the thing, if the thing blows up, it's gonna be very, very bad for you if you
Yeah.
go into the core of the thing. And they just kept running.
And this was their fourth attempt for a safety
Exactly.
test to develop safety protocols.
On top of that, yes.
Yeah.
On top of that, that is insane. Which we go back to the engineer who's at fault, who
Mm.
played it dumb, but as soon as he saw that, he started blaming other people and he runs out. He calls the owner, and that's when the first meeting happens, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like that's where my frustration, I went from depression to frustration.
Because the people in charge.
First, people in charge. Second, the political situation
Mm.
of how communism tries to hide everything from the
Uh,
world.
the, for the record,
This is not a political show, by the way.
no, it's not. But like Ukraine and Russia and all the ones under the Iron Curtain. It's Iron Curtain, right? They have a huge history of being very proud and very nationalistic.
Of course, yes. I
And
agree
instead
with
of
you there.
asking for help from everybody else in the world who could have been affected,
And
they just put a big heavy blanket over it.
I think that there's a part on one of the episodes, I forgot which part, but it's when Germany sends the robot
Yeah.
that they didn't say how
Your
intense the
Venezuelans
situation.
coming out right now.
Yeah, the Venezuelan
Your,
is coming up.
the rubbit.
I'm sorry. Again, guys, I'm from Venezuela. English is not my first language. I'm gonna
And
start
she
talking.
was saying robot.
I'm gonna start talking Spanish very soon.
Yeah, then I'm off the rail. I won't even know what you're saying.
But exactly, they're trying to keep it as if, oh, nothing is going on, everything is peachy, everything is beautiful, we know everything, nobody's gonna die, this is just a teeny tiny thing, there's no that much radiation. I feel one of my favorite parts, not favorite, but like, yes, people, please listen to him when Legasso first appears on the when they go back on time, and he reads the paper, and everybody,
He's in front of like heads of government too,
exactly,
if I remember correctly.
he's
right?
in front of heads of government, and everybody's like, oh yeah, this is easy, we're just gonna put it here,
Yeah,
just go
we'll
over
just take a
there.
broom to this. We'll just take
Yeah,
a broom and
we
put
don't
it in
need to
this little
we don't-
plastic bag and tie it up and
right,
throw it in the ocean.
radiation is what, 3.4, I think it was the number. Let's
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that is nothing, and he literally has to stand up and say, please shut up, listen to me, this is not a joke. This is not a joke, this is really hard, this is very high, and this is not going to get pretty. We need to get there, we need to put people in charge and try to find a way of containing the radiation and getting everybody out of there.
And kudos to Jared Harris, the actor who plays this character, because
He
on point.
on point.
On
He
point.
was amazing. He deserved. If I'm gonna have to fact check this, but if he got nominated for an Emmy for his acting,
And
I
he's
think
had
he
some big roles too.
He was in Mad Men. You know.
Yeah.
You know how he died in Mad Men, by the way?
I don't remember. It's been so long.
He hanged himself.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I think he's an expert on playing
That
that.
suicide roles.
Yeah, he knows how to do that. This is not something to laugh about, by the way.
Yeah, laughing at suicide.
Yeah. But
Like he was in The Crown, and he's the upcoming Carnival Row, Man from
wow.
Uncle. The guy's got some big credits,
Yeah, no. Him
especially
and
The Crown, and the I know him from The Expanse because I'm a sci-fi guy and loved him in that.
I know him from Mad Men. That's when I saw
Mm.
him the first time. What in the Crown? What character in the Crown does he play?
King George the Sixth.
Oh, he plays King George. Oh
Yeah.
God, yes.
Hmm. Like I first saw
Oh
him in
wow.
the second Resident Evil movie.
I
Like
haven't
that.
seen
That's my first.
I haven't seen any of the Resident Evil movies.
They're fun sci-fi horror movies. Yeah.
But I also need to give some kudos to Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah.
He, by the way, he is the man that I wish he was my father-in-law because his son is the most gorgeous.
All of his
man.
sons. What three talented boys?
What-
Even the It kid.
He only has one.
No, he's got the what's his name who plays in It? Isn't that his son too?
No.
You
We need to
sure?
fact check this.
Yeah, I'm looking that up right now.
We need to fact check this. I only know the one son who I love.
I thought he has one that plays in Vikings, Thor.
Oh look, he has two
Eh.
sons. Alexander Skarsgård and Bill Skarsgård.
Who's the kid from It?
I'm guessing Bill.
Yeah, Bill Skarsgård. Yeah,
So he's the one that played the clown.
yeah.
Okay, so I had no idea that Bill existed.
Mm-hmm.
However, Alexander Skarsgård played Bill, vampire. No, fact check. I'm sorry. He played vampire Eric on True Blood, and I fell in love with him the first time I saw
Oh.
him in Fantasia.
Yeah, that's the other one.
But back to Chernobyl, I think that we're trying to make it a little bit fun.
Yeah.
in here.
I hope we're not offending anybody.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But so that was my first frustration, which was the government. And then my second frustration was the firefighter's wife, the
Mhm.
firefighter, and all the people that decided to go to the bridge to see the pretty colors
What?
coming out of the reactor.
That's any kind of thing.
Oh my
There's going to be a huge crowd of people that's going to gather to look at it and then die immediately after. Look at every big earth-shattering movie.
I mean, can
Like
we,
just the one scene from Independence Day when they all go up on top of the building with their signs.
oh god.
That will constantly happen throughout human
Can we
history.
talk about the couple with the baby? They were like, "Oh, this is so romantic. Yes, we're gonna die tomorrow of
Yeah.
radiation, but this is so romantic."
But
And the
wait, did
little
we even
kids
know
playing
back then?
with the
Did we-
ashes.
Did we even know back then?
I think
That stuff, like back in the 50s when it was okay for pregnant women to smoke? Like, we didn't know.
I have I I think that one of the beauties of living in a free world and in a free country is that you're able to study and you're able to learn and you're not as dependent of what the government tells you
Yeah.
to do. And I'm sorry, I know I'm getting a little bit political, but
No, but it feeds into what happens in this show.
exactly, it feeds into the show. And I think that when you see a government like them, like the Soviet Union, who is controlling everyone, they want to control all the information going out, coming in. They don't want people to be smart. They don't want people to know what things are going on because then they might lose control.
Yeah.
So that's also at fault. We don't want to say that they were the brightest kids on the block.
Huh.
I'm sorry if I'm offending somebody, but that is something that I thought that I needed to throw in there a little bit. But yeah,
But weren't Russian? I guess I don't know, I'm thinking Russia, and I'm thinking Ukraine is just like part of Russia. but it's its whole other country.
It's the
But I know it was
USSR.
yeah, but it was still under
Yeah.
the USSR, so it's still Russian.
Yeah. And I have to say something though, because I'm saying people might not be the smartest kids on the block. However, the firefighter's wife, she did know. She had that something in her gut telling her the colors are not right. That doesn't seem correct. I'm not going to the bridge like all these crazy people. I'm gonna say here, I am scared for my husband. She later went insane, but on that first episode, I think she was the smartest person in the whole town.
But
tell me.
well, they trying to get like us moving on to the next episode, but like if I remember correctly, because I watched it a good couple of weeks ago, the scientist convinces this Boris Shabrina, or Sherbina is stationed or ordered to be with the scientist, and that's kind of
the head of
because
state,
you've watched this a little more recent than I have.
Yeah, the head of state tells Sherbina, you go to Pripyat and deal with it. Do whatever you have to do, but deal with it and let me know how things are really there.
And he gets the crash course on the way over.
Exactly. And then he tells them, you go with Legasov because he's the scientist and he's going to tell you, he's going to help you.
Which I feel like it was more of a, this is our eyes and ears.
Exactly.
For the government.
Exactly. And Legasov was scared because he knew what he was getting into, and he's like, oh, what the hell? Okay, I'm going to do this for the better of the country, for the good of the people. But
sacrifice one for the benefit of many.
That's a scene on the plane when Sherbina is like, oh, I want to go over the core. And he tells the pilot, let's go over the core. And Legasov literally jumps and say, if you go over that, we're dead.
Yeah.
And the pilot makes that last decision of not going over the core. Thank God. But basically, Legasov gives him a crash course, as you said, to Sherbina of what is going on, radiation, the radiation levels, how does it work in like dummy text. He literally...
And they were butting heads at the beginning.
They were butting heads really hard. And then he has to... A radiation guide for dummies is what he had to tell Sherbina. And thank God he did it, because then they land and they go with the engineer and the owner, who are just bullshitting their way out of it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're saying that the radiation is high. Radiation is not high. We're all happy here. And that's when he says, okay, you please send them to jail because these people are lying through their teeth. And let's go now to episode 2. Please remain calm.
Yeah. That's not for you guys. That was the actual episode name.
That's the title of it, which I found hilarious and fantastic. Please remain calm. You're about to die, but please remain calm.
Yeah. Which I feel like any government will do when a major situation happens in their country.
Yes, I think that
it's to keep from mass panic, and that will hurt more.
I feel like if you tell people we are gonna die, everything is just gonna go to shit. Pardon my French.
Yeah.
But they were taking it too calmly.
Yeah, for something. They were taking it too calmly for being in the facility.
Yes, exactly.
They should have panicked, and whatever recovery, safety procedures that they had, they should have been doing it instead of just trying to switch some dials and make everything look better.
Exactly. Which is when they start taking the people out of the town.
And pulling people from underneath the facility.
Oh, God.
And the effects makeup they did in these episodes, and that was incredible.
On point.
And we'll get to that, the one moment later on.
The one moment when Ulana goes and interviews.
Yeah, because, I'll touch on that a little bit more when we get a little further down.
That was they had a good
It
detailed
was, yeah.
artist in there. But I think that in episode 2, one of the scenes that actually stayed in my head was the helicopter scene
Yeah,
when when Shervina asked Legasov, "What should we do to stop the fire then if water is not gonna help?" And he tells him, "Let's just throw sand on top of it."
mm,
Not sand, or was it sand? I know that you're the one that is like more on top of it.
I think you're right with the sand.
Okay, so they start to throw it in and they bring helicopters on top of that. And the first helicopter decides to go over the
The
core.
winds had shifted, if I remember.
No, no, no. He
Or
decides to go over the core.
oh yeah.
And it's incredible. The effects here were so
Hmm.
good because one end the helicopter is perfect, and then on the other end you think that he's coming great, and he just falls apart
Hmm.
completely.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That scene to me was one that stood with me through the whole
Yeah.
thing. That what do you think of it?
Yeah. Like, he was ordered to go over and dump this on there.
Okay.
Am I right? Like, I'm asking you. Um, for some reason, I remember that the first run with the sand and the water, it was getting blown off
It was
and not hitting them.
sand and boron that was
Yes,
being thrown. Yes.
and it was getting and not hitting the target. And so I feel like I remembered like someone ordering just fly over and dump it on there,
Yes. It was
not
the most
listening again.
it was the most exactly. He said just go with the wind. If you go through the wind, then the wind will shift
Carry it, yeah,
and take the sand over. But he said just don't do that. Just go over the core and dump it. Big mistake.
yeah.
Huge mistake. And we also need to say that this is when they start walking and seeing the all the thing like the
The effect.
graphite the no the
Oh
graphite
yeah,
the
that's right.
debris
Yeah,
on the floor,
oh, yeah on the
which which were the biggest indicator that the core was exposed and that all the radiation was coming out.
yeah. And this is more sciencey. Is that the graphite was used to cool the radiation in one of the processes. I'm not a physicist, but I once that the graphite blew up, they knew that the core was out, exposed.
Yeah. However, on the second episode, and we haven't touched this, a very
It started
important
to
character comes in, which is Ulena.
yeah,
Ulana, I'm
Emily
sorry.
Watson.
Ulana. I'm sorry, not Ulena. Ulana. I am not gonna even
Yeah,
try to pronounce her
yeah.
last name.
Butcher these names.
I'm not even gonna try to pronounce her last name. But Ulana Komyuk? Komyuk?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you that. I'll
So
give you
she's
that.
in Minsk, which is in a whole other town. And she's also a scientist, a radioactive scientist. And they
Radiologist?
not a,
Radiologist? No, that's the person who does the X-ray stuff.
yes.
Yeah, yep. A radio scientist?
Whatever, let's say that. She's a scientist. That so on their lab they get the alarm saying that there's a high level of radiation, and they thought that it was inside of the lab when in reality it was outside. And she takes a sample from the window and she sees it, and she starts making calls, and she learns that they're throwing sand and boron into the core to bring out the fire because the water was not gonna do it.
Hmm.
And she gets the plans of the of the reactor, and she realizes something that nobody else has seen, which is that all the sand and boron is bringing a bunch of risks.
Hmm.
because they're going on top of the water, and it was causing a steam it the water and the sand will cause a steam explosion and will melt the core, and a bunch of other sciencey stuff that I don't remember that well.
Yeah.
Can you?
All the science stuff.
Yes. I mean, if I took some notes. I got some notes here from Wikipedia. Thank you, Wikipedia.
Hmm.
And the way that it says is that, okay, so he says Komuki is correct. To suppress the fire with sand and born as an initial step, but with risk of its own. As news of the incident spreads, Pripyat is finally evacuated. Upon arrival, Kamyuk warns Legasov and Sherbina that a destructive steam explosion will occur if the molten core establishes contact with water in the flooded basement. A lethal mission to drain the water is authorized, and plant workers go in. Another thing which I felt so bad for the people that actually had to go through this, which is they were recruiting people to die.
Yeah. But they didn't know that yet. Like, they weren't telling people that yet, which
They
is...
they weren't telling, but the minute that they had to talk with the volunteers knew that it was a not coming back thing.
Yeah, mission.
And the
We
way
start
that
seeing the human effect of what was happening
exactly,
when they show the hospital and people starting to feel sick already in this episode.
yes, and the firefighter wife going to see her husband and me wanting to punch her.
Yeah.
Again, I'm sorry, but if the nurse, the doctor, everybody tells you, please do not hug your husband, and please, you're not pregnant, right?
Hmm.
You should be a little honest and not
Yeah.
lie through your teeth, even if
That's
it's to see
that's
the
still
love of
it's
your
still her
life.
husband. Still her husband.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I guess
Who
that
just went through a huge explosion. She doesn't know what's happened, how he's doing, if he's even alive, and then gets word. And yeah, I think I would throw caution to the wind and hug my loved one.
I guess that I haven't been that in love. I mean, if it was one of my parents, God forbid, my parents or my cousin who's like my sibling, okay, yeah, I can see that happening. But still, it's frustrating for the person watching it. It's like, don't
Yeah.
do it, don't do it. Oh, you idiot, you're doing it. But the second episode ends with the volunteers going inside, and that scene was just
It's just
so
like
freaky. With
it
the
ends
the
with like them almost like the water rising, right?
no, the water and
Right.
the odometer, or the little
Is
thing that says if the radiation is high or not, going
Yeah.
insane. And the
the
next
Geiger
episode,
counter. The Geiger counter. I think that's what that's called.
you
Geiger
scienty,
meter or Geiger counter.
you scienty.
Too much sci-fi.
Oh my god. So we're on into this third episode, Open Wide O Earth. And the volunteers were successful.
Yeah.
They
That was a nice that was such a relief scene
Yes.
when
When
the
you
door
when you see them
opens
come out.
coming out through the door.
It's
Like after all of this, it's like finally we get the viewer gets like a little victory,
yes.
as well as,
Even though you know they're gonna die, even though
Yeah.
you know that they're already starting to feel the radiation side effects. For me, I'm sorry, you guys, but it's still hard for me to think that they were recruiting people to die, but they were doing it because they need to save millions. If those heroes, because not only volunteers, they were heroes, didn't do that, how many people could have died?
Yeah.
It's incredible. And now everybody left the town. Just the people from what is the name of the Russian version of the CIA? I forgot the name.
KGB.
The KGB. Only the KGB and them were on Pripyat.
And you've seen the photography, the recent photography of that one photographer who went back into the
Yes.
town. and how it's overgrown and eerie now.
because nobody ever went back.
Yeah, well,
Even though
it's
they
been
told
it's
them,
con-
even though they told them, "Oh, you'll be back in a month, in a week," nobody went back because they couldn't.
like tables still set with dinner dishes and such,
Hmm.
overgrown with
The teddy,
vegetation.
the teddy bears on
Yeah.
the hospitals. Oh
Hmm.
God, no, so eerie. And even that scene of the which in the show they did it, and then they said that it was real on the hospital, in the first hospital of the town where the firefighters first arrived, all
Hmm.
the clothes that was taken down into the basement, that clothes stayed there.
Yeah.
Nobody ever went back to take it out, and that zone is still like really high on radiation because
Hmm.
it was impregnated when they were on the core. Like all those little details
Hmm.
are to me are
Still affecting us. Still
yes.
affecting the Earth.
Ooh, chills. So on to episode 3. Rich, what can you tell us of episode 3?
Like the redeeming scene for me is them coming out through the door.
Okay.
Um, this was more of a political scene, or more of a teaching. I'm having a little trouble remembering like order here.
I think this is
Uh,
the first time that the KGB first approaches and
they
Sherbina starts talking with Legasov, and they're like, we're being surveilled, we need to be careful where we talk
yeah
and with who
talk
we
and
talk
hmm.
because we need to keep saying that
Like
everything is
instead of a
beautiful.
country coming together,
They are literally fighting among themselves.
yes,
Yes, which
to
is
keep everything hush hush.
it's insane.
That's right.
It's crazy, and it's also I'm not sure if it was on the third episode or if it was on episode 2, but when they are in the room and Sherbina said, "But we're here, everything is fine, right?" And Legasov just explodes, telling him, "Yes, we're here, and we're gonna die in 4 years or
Yeah.
less." Like, we're this is not
Yeah.
okay.
You're breathing this in. You're breathing in death right now.
Yes.
You're breathing in your own death.
You think that we're okay, but we're gonna die. It's not
Yeah.
that
It's not like
beautiful.
arsenic.
Yes.
It's a slow breakdown process that's excruciatingly painful.
And that's when is that when no, that's on episode 4 when Germany starts calling saying that they felt the radiation.
Mm.
So yeah, this as you said, this is more of a
It's more of the government,
government
episode.
heavy
Yeah.
episode, yes.
It does just like curdle your stomach because I'm sure every government does stuff like this just to surveil and make sure nothing leaks and it's all politics instead of what's supposed to be happening.
But you do know who starts visiting the hospital in this episode, right?
This is the
Komiuk starts going to the to the hospital and starts checking and talking with people, and that's where she meets Lyudmila, which is the firefighter's wife, who was pregnant and hugging her husband.
yeah. This is where she comes in. It's like, what are you doing?
And starts screaming at her, and the KGB takes her to jail.
Yeah.
Because you were saying things that you shouldn't be saying in public.
Yeah, you shouldn't be helping people. You should be in jail and shutting your mouth.
Oh God, no. So they had to, Legasov and Sherbina had to intervene with the KGB director and ask for Komiuk to come out and that they will make sure she wouldn't be making scenes in public anymore. Oh God, I can't with this. I'm sorry, as a Venezuelan, and again, I'm trying to stay as far away from politics as I can, but as a Venezuelan who I'm seeing that happen in my country as we speak, it's so frustrating for me every time I saw every single episode in the show. I'm like, I wanted to punch people. I wanted to just explode every time the political part came up. I'm like, no. How can people still believe that this works?
Yeah.
But I think that's about it with episode 3. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was it was because like the next one is more the court cases,
Yeah,
like
and
the start of the court case. And guys, it was 9 days of radiation fires that burned until they finally got this everything contained. So radiation is spewing out all over for 9 days.
oh, and I forgot. I I'm sorry. Third episode. I'm not remember everything right now. Everything is coming
And we're
back
up
to
piecing
me.
it together. Yeah,
Yeah,
the more you talk, the more it's piecing together for me.
same. Do you remember the coal miners?
That's this episode, right?
That's
Or
the third
next?
episode. No, that's where when they recruit them. Then when they go
Yeah.
to recruit them. On the
Okay.
and the
Yeah.
following one is when they come out full Monty house,
Yeah. Naked.
just like
Yeah, they're
God
nude.
brought them to the
Yep.
world.
And they were honest. They were honest with themselves. As
Yeah.
like, we're gonna die. This little piece of suit and this piece of instrument's not gonna help me.
And it's given
And it's boiling hot down
Yeah.
there.
and it's making it harder. So
Mm.
just fuck it.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It was. I'm so sorry. I keep saying bad words. I don't know what's going on.
That was your first one tonight, I think.
Anywho,
And it's
so-
usually me, which is so weird.
I know. What have you done to me?
What have you done? You PG'd me.
Yes.
I got PG'd.
And also, it's very important to say that Ulana Kamuk, she went and she tried to interview Dyatlov, which was an engineer on the reactor when it actually came out.
Yeah, she started taking. This is the episode. Oh, this or is this number 4, where she
No.
starts piecing it all together
This is
with the victims.
this is when she starts talking with the victims. She goes,
3 or 4.
3. She
Three,
goes
okay.
she goes to Dyatlov, and he's uncooperative. Then she goes to Toptunov, Akimov. I'm saying names I have no idea. I'm sorry, I'm butchering those names. But she goes to each one of them. And
Basically, it's all the
starts-
techs.
Exactly. She started putting together how things went down. And then is when she sees Lyudmila, and she goes to prison. She's taken in.
Mm.
But
The-
Dyatlov is another guy that I hated from the very beginning because
That's the lead.
engineer.
Engineer.
He was a lead engineer at the reactor that night, who was not inside when he gave
Yeah,
the
he was at the
order,
controls,
and then he came
yeah.
out, and then he went out.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't even inside when the testing was going on,
Oh God. Yeah.
and it was a whole new crew that hadn't even gone over the testing procedure.
Exactly. They just wanted to do,
And his arrogance,
and they didn't even have the permission to do it.
Mm,
They didn't have permission to run that safety test. They
like
wanted to do it.
everything they did was completely wrong.
Yeah.
Like they waited 10 hours so it was later at night so that more people wouldn't be using electricity.
Exactly. They brought a team that shouldn't have been there.
Mm.
That was not as
The team that was trained was
prepared.
already
Yeah,
were switched.
The trained
the
one
whole
had
shift.
already left. Oh Lord. So
Yeah.
we go into episode 4. Kamuk is already taken out from prison, and now they need to start getting all that graphite out of the roof because
Mm.
that is
It's all
shooting
nuclear charge, yeah.
radiation into the atmosphere. And that's where the robots that's where the beautiful machinery.
The German rowboat.
No, but there was a Russian one as well. They all come in together and they start working, and West Germany reaches out saying that they saw that they felt the radiation over there. A lot of countries start feeling the radiation, saying that their kids are not going to school
Mm.
because the radiation is that strong. And that's when Sherbina starts like, so maybe he was really right all along, and we're just a-holes in here.
I know this is stupid, like this whole buddy series, like how they started off butting heads. But I like how both of them, as the miniseries progressed, Sherbina started gaining respect.
Yes. At the end, they were very respectful to each other. They gained.
They were like good friends at the end,
It
like
was a
buddies.
good arch. It was a good arch
Yeah.
among them because they didn't like each other at all. And then they start getting to know each other and respecting each other.
And Sherbina was able to make things happen because of his political clout.
Yes. But then Sherbina even says, I am not that important and I'm not that high in the totem pole because they sent me here. You want to know why I know that? Because they sent me. If I was that important, I would have stayed in Moscow. I would have
Didn't how do you say his name? Legosov?
Legasov.
Didn't he say, well, you did get like umpteen pounds of boron?
Oh yeah, no, he got everything. He got the robot, even though
Yep.
the
Like
Russian,
he was,
the Russian
even though he
government lied about
Yeah.
how serious the thing was, and the robot didn't work at all, and they had to use biological. How was it they said? A biological robot, which was people running in every 10
90
minutes,
seconds.
something like that.
Yeah, they got 90 seconds to go in and out, collect as much as they can.
Yes.
Or push it off the side. Do they collect or push it off the side?
I think it was push it out the side. Yes.
Yeah. Like
So it
this
was
this
not
was
on the
the
roof.
scene. Like this was the heavy scene.
Yes.
And then they showed the one guy who ripped his pants.
Who read because he just stayed there like, oh, I want to see what's in the core. You stupid. I mean, yes, you always have that one person that wants
curiosity.
Curiosity
It's
killed the
human,
cat.
yeah. It's human curiosity.
That just wants to see what is this thing that everybody's making such a big deal of. But yeah, this is when it happens, and everybody, and well, I think that's about it.
Yeah,
Oh, and Kamuk says that, tells the guys, what happened to this girl that was from Pripyat. So the firefighter had already died.
Okay, yeah.
She gave birth to...
Guys, the makeup that they did for her husband
was amazing.
was unbelievable.
Was amazing.
And it's horrible looking. It is terrible. And I love movie makeup and effects makeup.
Yeah.
I was astonished seeing the makeup that they did for this gentleman.
No, it was not only for him, but for all of the radiation people.
Yeah.
Where it was just...
Because it makes your skin
point.
black and melting and...
Yes.
Ugh.
And gooey.
Yeah. Oh, what a job.
It was fantastic.
Kudos to that effects team.
I love how we were like, it was disgusting, it was gooey, it was amazing.
Well, that's how I look at movie makeup.
Yeah, no,
or
I
monster
agree.
makeup
Same.
is...
The
Like, it turned my stomach. That was amazing. That caused that emotion for me.
You know what it reminded me of? And this is gonna sound so bad. If you grab a Barbie or a Ken and you pass an iron on top of them,
Yeah.
the melted plastic and the melted face of that Barbie and Ken, that's what you got there.
That's radiation for people.
That's what you got there. Ew.
Yeah.
And, well, now we're going back to the last episode, which I'm not even gonna try to pronounce. But we get into
Did they start, like, between 4 and 5? Is this when they started setting up the camps?
Yes, and this is where
The pets?
this is the worst part. I don't know you guys, but I'm a pet lover. Back in Venezuela, I have 2 little poodles who are the love and life of my family, and here I have my baby boy, my cat. And I understand why they did it. I understand why the people were trying to just...
It was just the way...
Yeah,
They
were
did it.
hunting. We need to
Hunting
kill everything
but
that has radiation and It's the
And
animals.
they had to kill all the animals that were in the area.
Yeah.
And one of the lines is just you'll see a lot of dogs just whistle or have them come here. They'll just and you could shoot them. And it was just like so nonchalant, like, hey, would you like some popcorn? Kind of. This is how it's got that. It
Wait
was
a second, and when he tells him, "Oh, you need to protect your balls if you want to have
yeah,
kids in the future,"
yeah, that was pretty funny. And then they go get the thing.
it was like, "Wait, what?"
So
but
they had teams of people that would go into the village and just kill pets. Kill pets. It was like your dog. They killed your dog.
and it
They
reminded me,
coaxed it to come and then they shot it.
and it reminded me that the little kid that goes into the hunting of the animals. It reminded me of when I was studying, Vietnam, how the age of Vietnam was 14,
Hmm.
16, very young people going to war. That's what it reminded me. This was not war, but it was basically a suicidal thing because you
Hmm.
were going to be exposed to radiation, and they were already taken like four. This kid was barely out of school,
Hmm.
and the way that even the guy tells him, like, wait, you've never been in battle.
Yeah, like he wasn't a soldier
He
because
was
they were
not a
running. They
soldier.
ran out of
Yeah,
soldiers to
they
send.
they ran out of people. They started getting
Just
everybody,
recruiting. Yeah,
anyone who had legs and could walk,
yeah,
get
pretty
on the
much.
bus.
It was a draft, I
Yeah,
guess.
it reminded me of that part of Vietnam,
Yeah.
but whew.
Huh.
And it's the same with the miners. The miners were helping to try to get that tunnel
But they came as a group.
as a group. Yes,
Just decided that we're gonna die. Let's help others
yes.
by doing this. Like we're gonna die by doing this, but
I
it
think
will
like
save
400
lives.
at the end of the series, a bunch of numbers are given, a bunch of information is given, and I think it was 400 when and 100 die alone with the coal miners. I forgot
Hmm.
the exact number, but I remember that there was a 4 and a 1 somewhere
Hmm.
around there. But yeah, so that is that part. I think that the animal part is something that I try to like block from my head.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then we go into I think that the next point we need to talk is the the case when they
Yeah,
go
the
to
court
the
hearing.
court. Yeah.
Three gentlemen, three people
And
with their egos and arrogance
yes.
just let this happen.
And we have to say it, and it's very important to say that by this point, Sherbina starts already getting the side effects of the radiation.
Mm.
Same with Legasov.
Yeah.
Ulana, they don't get that much into Ulana, but Sherbina is coughing blood. Legasov, his hair is fallen. Both went to the doctors, and the doctors already told them you have 2 to 4 years. So shit is going down right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And I'm not sure the timeline of when they finished with the disaster to like how long in between the disaster and this court case.
okay,
Like I'm sure it wasn't like, okay, we got this settled the next day court case. I know that there was a whole bunch of stuff.
I think it was a year or something.
Because I know Yolana was still collecting notes and researching and talking to people,
Yes.
putting the story together.
They was putting the story together, yes. That's yeah, no, I'm trying to find the date, but let's not go with the timeline, guys. I'm sorry. But basically what I find very important is that you have the scientist and even a government person talk about the points and show in even dummy ways with
I love the way he did that.
pictures
Yeah.
and PowerPoint.
Yeah,
Well,
that of that day.
the 1986 way of PowerPoint.
PowerPoint was a marker board.
A marker than the board. And still you had the two owners, the owner and the engineer, saying that they were wrong, that they didn't do
Mm.
anything wrong. Like, deny it, deny it. Fake it till you make it. That
Yeah,
was their
yeah.
point. Everyone is wrong in here.
Mm. So,
And I think that now that we're almost at the end, it's very important to say, before we start this talking about everything together, how even after everything that went through in that court case, they still
they
hid
did,
most
yeah.
of things. They
Hmm.
they said that, oh, only 72 people or 175 people died, when in reality hundreds of thousands of people died in
Or
this.
and affected.
And the Soviet Union was dissolved 5 years after Chernobyl,
Hmm.
and they say that one of the reasons why it dissolved was because of Chernobyl. And also all those little things, which is what made me frustrated against the political side, because it's something that I've seen for firsthand, very similar in Venezuela, and it's something that I saw there, and I just kept getting angry and angry and angry. Like, how can you lie? How can you lie that think that everybody's just that stupid to believe you?
If you have enough power and clout,
Yeah,
you
I
could pretty
guess.
much persuade or make or buy people to believe you.
True. I guess
And
that's
that's
true.
like a huge, like, okay, this huge thing happened. And during the time, there was such already an anti nuclear protest going on globally.
Yes.
And for one, and I'm sure all these power plants, like the owners or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
however that happens, they all know each other.
Yes.
And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. If one of those fails, that means all of them could.
Yep. And they didn't want to fail. They wanted,
Yes.
especially because there's always been the tension between Russia and the States,
Mm.
and they wanted to protect themselves from the States and from whatever um uh, satellite that they had, and that they were spying on them and all that
The Cold
BS.
War.
Yes.
The Cold War.
But again, this is a show that we've gone
It's
through
heavy.
so.
I know we've kind of laughed through it, but it's kind of us coping
It's
with this
us trying
show.
to make it lighter on you, and also to make sense, because there are so many things that we're not experts on, and we're saying it, and we have no idea what we're talking about. So we just have to find the.
Whatever. I'm an expert on everything.
Of course you are. You
Uh,
have a PhD.
I maybe.
You sure? You're like, I took geology in high school.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that rock.
But you took rock for jocks in
Yeah.
college, right?
Yeah,
I know.
because I played all the sports.
No, rock for jocks. Didn't you get that on? Okay, so I went to the University of Miami,
Hmm.
and there was this class that
Is that the giveaway science class for
everybody
your
used to
undergrad?
give it rocks for jocks, because it was the class that all the jocks used to go and
Huh.
take, because it was an ECA class.
Yeah.
So yeah, was that what you were taking, Rich?
Yeah,
Be
that's the one.
honest.
That's the one.
Oh
But
God.
guys, we seriously recommend this show. It's
Yeah.
hard to watch, it's hard to stomach, but it is a piece of history.
No,
And it
and
is has insight on how governments work on situations like this.
it's also, I I love the end, the very very end, because they start explaining everything that really happened and on the disaster, and the character of Ulana, she didn't exist. Her character was built up because it was multiple scientists
Oh,
that
so they. I
helped
didn't know that.
that
I didn't know that.
helped Legasov,
So
that
they just
backed
kind of
him
wrapped up.
up. So they
They
took,
wrapped up all the scientists
yeah,
into her.
they took all of the scientists that helped back up Legasov and all these things, and did all the legwork as this one character of Ulana Commute.
Mm.
So that character, that was something that I found very interesting, and it was very well played as her character, because I think she did a phenomenal job of just taking the bull by its horns, and going to Pripyat, even though everybody was like, really, you're driving there? She's like,
Huh.
yeah, I need to save these people. That I can't just go on like this, and giving everybody the ionized pills so they could drink it as much as you can, because you need to fight the radiation.
Hmm.
And one of the, which I found hilarious, when she finds out that they're throwing sand and boron into the core, it was through that phone call with a secretary, but it was all said in code. So it was
That
like,
was that was really clever.
yeah, the summer I went to the beach, and the beach was very hot, so we used some board. And she's like, oh, okay, yes, my sister is going.
Hmm.
And all of that translated to, they're using sand and boron to try to stop the fire on the core. The show was phenomenal. I think that they thought every single little piece that will
Uh,
make this show good, and they
well,
brought it together.
creator writer Craig Manzin did an amazing job,
Yes.
and Johan Renek, the director,
Yes.
incredible.
I
Two
think
of them should make more things together.
I think we took a little Russian course on names tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry for all those Russian listeners out there. Yeah.
Yeah, we have, to our Russian fans, we're so sorry.
Yeah. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, no, I think that, and which is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring a little laugh at the beginning with 90210, because I knew that we were gonna
It's
head into
heavy.
something very heavy and very serious, and I just wanted to make it a little fun.
Way for us to go from such a lighthearted first episode and train rail it right into this season, this show
We want
particularly.
to keep our serial lovers entertained and on their
Yeah.
feet, like on point. One day we're very happy, and the next day we're diving into HBO's most serious shit.
Yeah. All right, so what are we going to watch for this week?
I think the Righteous Jewels.
Oh, what about the one you said earlier? The
So we have
gemstone.
that one, the Righteous Gemstone.
The righteous gemstones.
That with
I
Danny McBride, Goodman,
Goodman and
Alan
that.
Devine.
Yeah.
We need to, serial lovers again. Hashtag Seriology TV
TV or
on
at Seriology TV. Tweet
on
us.
Twitter. Tweet us if you want another TV show for us to talk about. Let us know. I think that we
And
need,
I'm not gonna lie, I found a really cool one last night on Netflix. Just
which
came out.
one?
Money Heist. I think it comes from Spain, but it's overdubbed in English.
La
I
Casa
watched
de
it.
Papel.
Okay, what'd you just say?
Money Heist. Its name in Spanish is La Casa de Papel. So
You already know the show.
okay, so I've recommended the show to many people, but I haven't seen it.
I almost
I don't know
through
why
with the
I
second
recommend
episode.
people. I don't know why I
Oh.
recommend people the show, but
Really
I haven't
slick.
seen it.
It's a really slick show.
Yeah, no, it was, the first season came out last year, and it was everybody in Latin America at least was talking about it. It was insane.
It's so far it's really cool. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
and
keep on that.
The second season
and
just came out. The second season of Succession also came
Yeah.
out. The Righteous Gemstones also there. We have a lot, some really good stuff to go
Siri
over.
lovers, let us know your thoughts.
Yeah,
Let us know your thoughts.
let us know your thoughts. We'll keep bringing more material to you, and can't
See you
wait.
next week.
Yeah, see you next week. Can't wait.
See you next week, guys. Have a good day, good night, good evening, no matter where you're at.
fun.
Have some fun. Enjoy some shows. Good night, everybody.
Bye. Good night. Well, that's all for now, folks. Hope you like it. Remember to tweet us at Seriology TV with a message of what shows you think we should add to our bucket list. Or if you want to leave a comment about how awesome we are. See you next week, series lovers. And remember, whatever you are, you'll always be in our TV hearts.